weather gets warm, nothing makes kids happier than playing in water. It's what we do. It's also a great way to get exercise. Albert and Einstein want to show us how to become water safe anytime we go near water. That includes when we visit the California State Water Project. The California Water Project has many lakes and hundreds of miles of connecting aqueducts. People enjoy project lakes every day of the year. Lots of people like to fish in the California Aqueduct too. Wherever we decide to go, Albert and Einstein want us to remember to have safe fun. That's why the mascots of the State Water Project want us to wear a life jacket and learn to swim. Kids can learn to swim in shallow water with their family or in community swimming lessons. For added safety, we can learn a survival floating technique. The technique is especially helpful when a swimmer gets tired and needs to rest by floating. To float, the swimmer takes in a deep breath of air and then relaxes face down in the water. The deep breath fills your lungs with air, which helps you float. When it's time for another breath, a gentle downward motion of cupped hands helps your mouth to break the surface of the water. Learning to let your air out at the right time before taking another deep breath takes some practice. And, of course, only practice under the watchful eye of an instructor or a friend who swims well. Speaking of friends, it's important to always swim with a buddy. That way you can keep an eye on each other for safety. My friends and I like to swim with a lifeguard nearby in a designated swimming area. Designated swim areas have float lines that mark where it's safest to swim. For added safety, everybody should wear a life jacket, like Einstein. Good swimmers learn other water skills, too, like diving. The most important part of diving is being very familiar with the diving area. In unfamiliar water, there can be dangers lurking below the surface. Diving into rocks and mud, or even another kid, can cause serious injuries. So, before diving, always know how deep the water is, and that it's safe. Unfortunately, water accidents can happen. When they do, only someone trained in life-saving should jump into the water to help someone. If you see someone needing help, toss him or her something that floats. Saving a life can be easy as pie, but not pizza pie. And although there are lots of swimming toys that can help someone float, there's nothing safer than a properly fitting life jacket. That's why we call them life jackets. Wearing a properly fitting life jacket is especially important when boating. If a boating accident happens, a life jacket can help save a kid's life. That's why it's a California boating law. Anybody under the age of 13 must wear a life jacket when boating. For safety, it's also important to stay seated in a moving boat and be prepared to hold on tight, especially if you're on a jet ski. When it is time to move around in a boat, wearing tennies or boating shoes will help you to have sure footing. If you're ever in a boat that capsizes or is taking on water, always stay with the boat until help arrives. Warning signs also help us to be water safe. If we read, heed, and obey all warning signs, we can steer clear of danger. But if you go near the California Aqueduct, you'd better wear a life jacket. Swimming here is very illegal because it's very dangerous. If you accidentally fall in, you could easily drown. That's why both kids and adults need to wear a life jacket when near the aqueduct's steep sides. In some designated areas along the aqueduct, it's okay to fish. But if something falls into the water, just let it go. Keeping yourself safe is more important than something you can replace.
What are you thinking?
There are unpredictable, powerful currents that can easily sweep you away. Without any warning, the State Water Project will move huge amounts of water down the aqueduct. Even a good swimmer is no match for the aqueduct's powerful flow. Even worse, the steep sides have really slippery algae just below the surface of the water. If you fall in, the slippery algae makes it impossible to climb out just anywhere. The only practical way out is to swim, dog paddle, or float with the current to a safety ladder or float line. Safety ladders are located every 1,000 feet on both sides of the aqueduct. But because the aqueduct can easily overpower a good swimmer, never try to swim across to the other side. Stay close to the sides until you can climb out at a safety ladder. You can also climb out at an aqueduct float line. A float line can save your life just like other things that float. But the best floating device is a well-fitting life jacket. Wearing a life jacket at the aqueduct is one of Albert and Einstein's most important safety tips. But really, they're all very important. Albert and Einstein know how much kids love water, so they want our water play to be fun and safe. That's why we learn and practice their water safety tips. Do you remember any of the safety tips yet? Of course you do. They include learning to swim, swimming with a buddy, only diving where you know it's safe, and obeying posted warning signs. I especially like the idea of saving a life with something that floats. But please, hold the onions. This summer, we're all gonna want a pizza. I mean, to play in the water. So let's have some real fun out there and be water safe for life.